One decision destroyed everything, and it all started the moment I pressed send. Part 1. The moment everything broke. Snow fell like shredded glass, hard, cold, and glittering under the neon lights of Zenith City. And I was running, boots slapping against the icy pavement, breath tearing out of my lungs, fingers gripping the flash drive that started the end of my life. People think destruction comes with explosions, crashes, fire.
But mine?
It came from a single click. One decision. One file. One truth I wasn't supposed to see. And the moment I pressed send, the city turned against me. My face was everywhere, on digital billboards, on flashing warning banners, even reflected in the glass towers above me. The words stamped across my picture. Swan Dad. Threat level red. A code name. Not mine, but one they forced onto me.
To rewrite me.
To turn me into a villain. Agents moved behind me, coats flapping, weapons drawn, steps steady. They weren't chasing just a fugitive. They were hunting a ghost they created. But I wasn't a ghost. I was a journalist. My name, my real name, was Lian Zhou, an investigative reporter who once believed truth could save people. But tonight, truth was the reason I was running for my life. Part 2, the file. It started 3 months ago, back when my life was normal, predictable, painfully ordinary. I lived in a tiny apartment above a tea house. I fought with my editor 3 times a week. I chased stories that didn't matter, sugar scandals, politician affairs, missing cats. And I had a brother.
Okay, quiet.
Brilliant. A cybersecurity analyst for Apex, the most powerful defense organization in the country. He never talked about his job. He smiled too much for someone working in intelligence. But one night, he came to me with eyes that had forgotten how to smile. "Lian," he whispered, locking every lock on my door. "If something happens to me, look into Project Swan Dad." I laughed. Swan Dad? What is that? A kid's cartoon villain. But he didn't smile. He only said 2 words that would change my life. Trust no one. The next morning he was dead. They called it an accident. A lab malfunction. A tragic equipment failure. But Kai never had accidents. And a week later, a package appeared under my door. No return address. No note. Just a flash drive. And a small sticky note written in Kai's handwriting. Don't let them win. I should have taken it to the police. I should have burned it. I should have done anything except open it. But I made a choice. And that was the decision that destroyed everything. Part 3. The truth they killed for. Inside the drive was a data project so classified it didn't even exist in government records. Project Swan Dad. Objective: mass psychological influence and covert civilian tracking. Target: population-wide emotional forecasting. Method: predictive behavioral control through digital integration. In simple terms, they created a system to track, predict, and manipulate every person's choices, without them ever knowing. A digital puppet master. And my brother had discovered it. No wonder they killed him. The worst part? The system had already gone live. Quietly. Silently. Every citizen plugged into its strings without realizing. This wasn't surveillance. This was ownership. My hands shook as I scrolled through the files. Video logs, decrypted code, internal memos. One stood out. Threat flag. Analyst Kai Zhou. Status: termination approved. They'd marked him, labeled him a threat, and the next day he was dead. My chest felt like a collapsing tunnel. That's when I made my second mistake. I forwarded the entire file to one person, my editor. And by the time I realized he'd been working for Apex for years, it was too late. Part 4. The Hunt. The first attack came at 2:14 a.m. A black van. 3 armed men.
No baggies.
I escaped only because Kai had drilled self-defense into me when we were kids. The entire city grid locked onto my location minutes after. Every camera, every traffic sensor, every public AI kiosk. Apex used the grid the same way you'd use a GPS. Except I wasn't a car. I was a target. They branded me the traitor. A national threat. A rogue operative. And with the media under their command, the entire city believed the lie. I became the story, the villain, the face on every screen, the woman who stole classified data and sabotaged national security. All because of one decision. But I didn't care about my reputation. I didn't care about being hunted. I only cared about one thing: finishing what Kai started. Part 5. The Agent. His name was Agent Morrow.
I didn't know him then.
Just that he was one of the 3 men chasing me in the snow that night. Black suit, black gloves, expression carved from stone. But when our eyes met through the blizzard, he hesitated. Most agents don't hesitate. Later, I'd learn why. But in that moment, his hesitation saved my life. The bullet he fired toward me shattered a light post instead of my skull. I slipped behind a delivery truck, heart pounding, snow stinging my cheeks. Subject Swan Dad. Corner her, a voice barked through his comm. I have visual, Morrow replied. But she's unarmed. Unarmed didn't matter. Their kill orders never mentioned weapons. Just deletion. I sprinted through the alley, clutching the flash drive. Sirens wailed as drones whirred overhead, lights sweeping the streets. I didn't stop running until my legs gave out. Part 6. The Underground Network. You don't survive Apex alone. Thankfully, Kai had connections he never told me about. A group of rogue analysts, hackers, and ex-intelligence officers who called themselves the Downlink. They found me in the dark. Or rather, they found me because Kai told them how to. A woman named Ria led them. Sharp eyes, sharper words. You're Kai's sister, she said, looking me over. We expected you weeks ago. You knew he'd die? I whispered. Kai knew, she said. And he planned for it. They took me to their hidden base, deep beneath an abandoned subway station, filled with flickering monitors and the smell of burnt solder. The air buzzed with electricity and paranoia. Ria slammed a folder on the table. Apex has a bug in the Swandad system, she said. Your brother found it. And they killed him for it. I swallowed hard. What bug? The system can predict behavior, but it can't predict decisions made out of pure grief or rage. They can't track people who are completely off pattern. People like me? I whispered. Ria nodded. You loved your brother too much. His death broke your pattern. You became invisible to their algorithm. Invisible. It sounded like a superpower, but it was just pain wearing the mask of advantage. Part 7. The Infiltration. The Downlink had a plan. A suicidal one. We were going to break into the Apex Central Core, the most heavily guarded building in Zenith City. Not to steal more data. Not to run. But to upload a virus Kai had created before he died. A virus designed to erase Project Swandad from existence. And the only device that could carry that virus was the flash drive in my hand. Kai's last message to me wasn't just a warning. It was instructions. He had built the bomb. I just needed to pull the pin. The team prepped me for 2 days: combat training, infiltration drills, neural dampeners to disrupt AI scanning. By the end of it, Ria looked at me and said, You know why Kai chose you, right? No, I admitted. Because you're stubborn enough to finish a job even if it kills you. Part 8. The Night of the Breach. The plan was simple. Simple in the way a heart transplant is simple. Ria and the team create a diversion outside Apex headquarters. I enter through the maintenance shaft. Reach the core. Plug in the flash drive. Survive, if possible. But nothing ever goes as planned. When I slipped into the shaft, the building already smelled like danger. Sterile metal mixed with ozone and overcharged circuits. Security drones hummed overhead like mechanical hornets. But I kept moving. My heartbeat matched my footsteps.
Steady.
Focused.
Determined.
I reached the core chamber just as the alarms triggered. Ria's voice crackled in my earpiece. Lian, they know. Someone tipped them off.
Someone.
I didn't know who.
I didn't know why.
But I knew what it meant. I ran. Doors sealed behind me like iron jaws. Red lights flashed. Automated turrets emerging from the ceiling swiveled toward me. The only thing that saved me was the neural dampener around my neck, blurring my digital signature just enough to confuse them. I dove under the last turret volley and crashed into the core chamber. And froze. Because he was there. Agent Morrow. Part 9. The Agent's Secret. He stood alone in the chamber, gun in hand, waiting. Snowflakes still clung to his coat, melting on the floor. Lian Zhou, he said. Voice steady. Too steady. Morrow. I breathed, raising the flash drive like a weapon. You going to kill me? He didn't answer. So I asked the harder question. Why did you hesitate the night in the alley? His jaw tensed. I wasn't supposed to, but you did. Silence. A long one. Then, because Kai saved my life once. The words hit harder than a bullet. Your brother pulled me out of a burning server block 6 months ago, he said quietly. He risked his career. Risked everything. So you owe him. No, Morrow said. I owe him the truth. He stepped aside. I blinked. Wait, you're letting me through? I'm not your ally, he said, but I'm done being their weapon. He holstered his gun, and that tiny gesture was the difference between life and death. For all of us. Part 10. Inserting the virus. The core pulsed like a heartbeat, columns of light rising from the floor, data streams cascading through the air. It felt alive. I approached the central console, hands trembling. This is for you, Kai, I whispered. I plugged in the flash drive. The system reacted instantly. Lights flickering, alarms screaming, data spiraling out of control. Morrow shielded me as sparks rained down. Ria's voice echoed through my comm. Virus uploaded. Hold the connection for 30 more seconds. 30 seconds felt like a lifetime. The core shuddered violently. Panels exploded. Energy surged through the floor. I gripped the console until my knuckles turned white. 10 seconds left. 5, 3, 2. The world went white. Part 11. The Aftermath. When I opened my eyes, the core was silent.
Dead.
Project Swandad. Deleted. Ria's voice came through, ragged but alive. It worked, Lian. Kai's virus worked. I exhaled for what felt like the first time in months. But the relief didn't last long, because Morrow was lying on the floor bleeding. No, 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 I whispered, dropping beside him. One of the explosions must have hit him. Go, he rasped, pushing my hand away. Leave me. I'm not leaving you. You have to. They're coming. And he was right. Footsteps thundered through the halls. Apex was almost here. Morrow grabbed my wrist, grip weak, but desperate. Lian, don't let Kai's death be meaningless. Don't let mine be either. I swallowed hard. Then I made the choice Kai would have made. I carried Morrow out with me. Part 12. Rebirth. Apex fell within days. Without the core, without Project Swandad, their entire power collapsed. Leaks flooded the media. The downlink exposed everything Kai uncovered. People took to the streets demanding justice. The truth Kai died for finally lit the world on fire. As for me, I wasn't a ghost anymore. I wasn't a villain. I was the woman who tore down the system. Morrow survived, but he vanished afterwards.
No goodbye.
No message. Just silence. Sometimes I wonder if he disappeared to escape his old life, or to build a new one. Part 13. The final message. A month later, I received a package. No return address. No note. Just a single object. Kai's watch. Inside the band was a tiny engraving I'd never seen before. One decision saves. One decision destroys. Choose the right one. A shiver ran through me. I'd made the wrong decision once. But after everything, I realized something. The world doesn't break from bad decisions. It breaks when the truth is buried. And it heals when someone decides to dig it up again. So I made one final choice. To keep digging. To keep fighting. To keep telling the truth. No matter the cost. Because now I knew. One decision destroyed everything. But one decision rebuilt me. And this time, I was unstoppable.